liten.
Hon har en kär liten vän.
It's a tricky adjective because it will be changed as liten, litet, lilla and små. Tjena och varmt välkommen till Måsmark med mig Katarina. Här på kanalen brukar jag göra lite olika saker. Och jag ser att du gillar och jag har fått, eller jag fortfarande får så många kommentarer som ger mig stor motivation för att fortsätta. Så slå på knappen prenumerera för att vi träffas i andra videor som jag gärna gör till er. Och vi börjar.
Känner du Lotta min vän?
Känner du Lotta min vän? Here we have general question that starts with the verb in present form, känner. And känner is a verb of group number 2, which is translated as knowing someone, and it will be in basic forms. Känner will be like känner, kände, känt. So here once again he says, känner du Lotta min vän? Do you know? So känner du. You see, it's way easier than in English. General question in Swedish is formed by putting verb in presence, in this case, at the first place, and then you put substantive, and then your question is finished. You don't need any auxiliary verbs like do, does, and so on. So, känner du Lotta min vän?
Lotta min vän?
Lotta min vän.
Ja, jag känner Lotta min vän. Som bor på Fiskaregränd?
Ja, jag känner Lotta min vän som bor på Fiskaregränd. Så, jag, I, personal pronoun, känner, know, we remember, känner, kände, känt. Then he says, Lotta min vän, it's, I guess, just the name. And then we have som, which is conjunction, that is translated as that, which. Then we have verb bor, which is in present form of the verb live, and bo belongs to group number 3, and it looks like bor, bodde, and bott in base forms of the verb. And here I want to pay your attention. He says som bor på Fiskaregränd. So we have preposition på when we talk about streets, or in this case, which is gränd and is translated as alley. And let's change this word en gränd, gränden, gränder, gränderna. And let's look once again. Som bor på Fiskaregränd. And here we have Fiskare as a name of this alley. But if we don't have it and it's going to be just he lives at LA, you would say not bor på gränd, you would say bor på gränden. Because 95% when we are saying preposition, we know exactly which noun or destination we are talking about. So we will say bor på gränden.
Ja, och Lotta, hon har en kär liten vän.
Ja, och Lotta, hon har en kär liten vän. So, hon is a personal pronoun she. Har is a present form of verb have, which will be or not will be, which is belonging to group number 4 and will be translated as have and conjugated as har, hade, haft in 3 basic forms. Then we have phrase en kär liten vän. So, en vän is a friend. en vän, vännen, vänner, vännerna. Then we have liten, which is translated as small, and this word is very tricky. It's a tricky adjective because it will be changed as liten, litet, lilla, and små. Where liten is for en ord, for example, en liten vän, as we have here. Then we have litet, which will be used for ett ord, for example, ett litet äpple. Then we have lilla, which is definite singular form. For example, den lilla vännen, when we say this little friend. And the last form is små, with what will be used as a definite plural form. For example, de små vännerna. So those little friends. And let's read once again. En kär liten vän. And we have still word kär here, which is translated as dear. So kär, kärt, kära. So en kär liten vän will be translated as a dear little friend. And let's read once again this sentence. Ja, och Lotta, hon har en kär liten vän.
Per liten vän?
Jag sa ju det!
Jag sa ju det. So he says, ja, which is personal pronoun I, sa, which is the preteritum form of the verb säger. And säger, we know how it is conjugated, and we just repeat säger, sa, sat. And then we have a short word that is barely hard to barely possible to translate into English. So you is translated as just, and this word is used when we want to underline that something what is said is obvious and known. So he got angry because he has already said about en kär liten vän, and then Lord Forkot just said it again. And Cookie got mad and he said, jag sa ju det. So I've just said it. I told you. So I think in English there is no word that can translate this you in English, but in Ukrainian we have the word for that. We say żeż. Я ж тобі сказала. So we have the word for that in Ukrainian. And once again, he says, jag sa ju det. So det is a personal pronoun which is translated as it. And let's look again at this sentence. Jag sa ju det. And if we take away this you, it will be just the phrase jag sa det, I said it. But if you add jag sa ju det, it's going to be like I said it so, I said like that. It's obvious. So somewhere like something like that.
De gömmer sig hos Lottas vän.
De gömmer sig hos Lotta. So de is a personal pronoun they. Gömmer is a present form of verb hide, which belongs to group number 2. And let's repeat all the forms. So gömmer, gömde, gömt. But here we have extra word. We have de gömmer sig. De gömmer sig will be spelled, will be pronounced like that together. So say is a reflexive pronoun which is used in the situations when we want to direct the action to ourselves. In English, I don't think we say they hide themselves, like in this situation, but in Ukrainian we have a special ending, ся, which will exactly mean this what this pronoun say has in its meaning. So gömmer sig in Ukrainian will be translated as ховаються. So this ся ending. But in English, sorry, we just say hide, but maybe in some cases we can say they hide themselves, but I rarely hear such sayings. More detailed information about different pronouns, including reflexive pronoun, you can find by going by the link in the corner and practice and refresh knowledge that I am sure you already know, because there are so many things that we have already heard, but we didn't have enough practice of using this reflexive pronoun or other kinds of pronoun. So my big recommendation to go check it and förbättra and improve your Swedish. So, de gömmer sig hos Lotta. So they hide themselves. Let's say it anyway. Hos is a preposition which is translated as at, meaning at someone's house. So it's the same like in English when we say, where are you? I'm at Kate's. So I am at her house. De gömmer sig hos Lotta.
Snart! Vi har hittat den.
Vi har hittat den. Vi, personal pronoun we, har hittat, have found. Again, this is perfect tense. We have already discussed. Har is auxiliary verb that helps to create perfect tense. And verb, hittat, is used in supinum form, and we have together har hittat. But by the way, I think I missed to say that hittar is the verb of group number 1, and in basic forms it will sound as hittar, hittade, hittat. And den is personal pronoun it.
Men vad väntar ni på?
Men vad väntar ni på? But what are you waiting for? So why did I say directly the translation? Because in Swedish, it was the same like in English. So we have preposition på in the end. And if we don't include the situation with are waiting or what do you wait for, then it was quite easy to to understand how to create this sentence. And I would recommend that such phrases are good for learning, like with the construction. Because if you start splitting, you need more practice. But if you learn vad väntar ni på? You just remember that, okay, this is the phrase, what are you waiting for? And if I need to say what I am waiting for, I would say, men vad väntar jag på? But if I want to say, what is he waiting for? I will say, vad väntar han på? Do you feel the difference when we are learning not just the word, but when we are learning the phrase? But we will talk about that at my video podcast, so you can check for these 2 videos that are already out, and there are coming more things with different tips that I use for studying, and not only about studying. We are going to talk about different things, but in Swedish. So he says, men vad väntar ni på?
Ta in den!
Ta in den. So, ta is used in imperative form, and ta will be conjugated as tar, tog, tagit. Then he says in, which is verb particle, which is translated as inside. So ta in we can translate as take inside, but better to translate as bring in. Then he has den because he means in spegel. It's a little spoiler for the next moment. If you don't remember what is the difference between den och det, in this case, I will explain. So, den or det depends whether it is en word or et word respectively. So he says, ta in det. So take it in,
magiska spegeln.
Magiska spegeln. The magic mirror. Again, we have magisk, which is adjective, magic, and it will be changed as magisk, magist, magiska. And we have word en spegel, which will be changed as spegeln, speglar, speglarna. And he said magiska spegeln because he says definite singular form both for noun and adjective. So magiska spegeln. Släpp ingenting. So he says don't tell anything, but we will go deeper, and släpp is an imperative form of verb let go. So yeah, let go. And here it's also good to make a note that släppa is a verb of group number 2 because it is finishes with er in presence, so it will be släpper. And imperative and infinitive forms will be different because they are not working the same like it was with the group of verbs number 1. So in imperative we say just släpp, and infinitive we will add ending a. So it will be like that: släppa in infinitive, släpp in imperative, släpper in presens, släppte in preteritum, and släppt in supinum. Then he says ingenting, or we can say inget, meaning nothing. And again, a little reminder that inget can be used as both independent word meaning nothing, both as indefinite pronoun meaning no plus noun. So it works the same like we were talking in the beginning about ingen. So it works the same, but here we mean something. There we were talking about nobody. Here we are talking about nothing. And together, these two words will mean phrase don't tell anything. Släpp ingenting.
God kväll.
God kväll. Let's split this phrase. God, gott, goda, meaning good. And evening is en kväll, kvällen, kvällar, kvällarna. I think it's good sometimes to split these phrases because we can learn quite much from them.
Spegel, spegel på väggen där.
Spegel, spegel på väggen där. Fras i alla sagor. But let's split it into words. So he says spegel. We remember that it is en spegel. Then he says på is preposition, which is translated as on. And then he says väggen. So en vägg, väggen, väggar, väggarna. And he says på väggen. And you remember, as I already said, that we use singular indefinite form in this case, väggen, because we used preposition på. And it means that he sees and he understands which wall this mirror is placed on. So that's why we will say väggen. And in the end of the phrase he says där, which means there, when we are talking about place. Because again, I think it's good to remind ourselves that in Swedish there are 3 versions of this word. When we are talking about place, destination, and when we are talking about moving from the place. I mean där, dit, and därifrån. So when we are talking about there, like place, we are talking about där. So I am there. Jag är där. When we are talking about destination, we say jag går dit. I go there. And when we are talking about coming from some place, we would say jag kom därifrån. So I'm coming from there. From there. Yeah, so där, dit, därifrån.
Säg vems kungarike som mest perfekt av alla är.
Säg vems kungarike som mest perfekt av alla är. So say is imperative form of the verb säger. So you remember that it will sound as säger, sa, sat in 3 basic forms. Then we have vems, which is translated as whose, is also question pronoun. Good to remember. Kungarike is ert ord, so it's going to be ert kungarike, kungariket, kungariken och kungarikena. Then he says som, so it's a conjunction which is translated as that, and som in this case is used to make a comparison, because later he says mest perfekt, so it's a comparison form. Perfect, perfektare, mest perfekt. So he used a superlative form. And let's read once again. Säg vems kungarike som mest perfekt av alla är. So av alla, of all, and är is the verb of group number 4, which will be conjugated as är, var, varit.
Ja, rent tekniskt är du ingen kung.
Thelonious.
Ja, rent tekniskt är det ingen kung. But rent tekniskt will be translated as purely technically. So if to be technically correct or pure, but if we split this phrase into 2 parts, rent is adjective, so pure, and it will be changed as ren, rent, rena. Then we have tekniskt, which is technically, and it will be changed as teknisk, tekniskt, tekniska. And again, rent tekniskt will be translated as technically pure. Then he says, rent tekniskt är det en kung. Here we have again indirect word order, and we start from the adverbial phrase rent tekniskt, then we have verb är, then we have det, that is substantive in this sentence, and we finish with the object ingen kung, which is translated as there is no king technically. And of course we could say the same sentence but with the direct word order, so we could say ja, det är ingen kung rent tekniskt.
Thelonious.
Så det var allt, och jag tänker att jag kommer att fortsätta med de sådana videor, och jag ser att du gillar den, och jag är så tacksam för dina kommentarer, dina gillarna och din prenumeration. Så innan jag säger dig hej då, jag har en sak till att säga dig. Att du vet mer än du tror. Vi ses eller vi hörs jättesnart.